A few years ago, I was stuck. And I don't just mean in a rut, I mean truly, deeply, what am I doing with my life stuck? I was working a dead-end job under fluorescent lights that seemed designed to suck the soul right out of you. My bank account was a constant source of low-grade panic, always hovering just a little too close to zero. And the idea of traveling the world, seeing all those places on my secret Pinterest boards, that felt like a fantasy, something for other people, not for me. Fast forward to today, and my life looks nothing like it did back then. I've built a career I'm not just proud of, but wildly passionate about. I travel to incredible places whenever I feel the pull, not just for one frantic week a year. I've attracted more financial abundance and success than my past self would have even had the guts to dream of. In this video, I'm going to show you the exact daily routine and, more importantly, the mindset shifts I used to get here. This isn't about magic wands or wishful thinking. This is the practical, no-nonsense guide I wish someone had given me when I felt completely lost and powerless. This is how you stop being a passenger in your own life and finally take the wheel. So how did I do it? How did I go from someone who's stressed about rent to someone who books a flight to another country on a whim? It wasn't winning the lottery. It wasn't some random stroke of luck. It was a decision. A decision to stop waiting for my life to change and to start changing it myself from the inside out. It started with understanding a principle many people talk about, but few really get. The idea that your outer world is a mirror of your inner world. Now, before you click away thinking this is just another positive thinking video, let me stop you right there. Positive thinking is a piece of the puzzle, but it's a tiny one. Let's be clear. There's no scientific evidence that our thoughts alone can magically change the world around us. The process I'm talking about is deeply psychological. It's about rewiring your brain, challenging your core beliefs, and as a result, changing your daily behavior and actions. When you change those things, you start to see and create opportunities that were completely invisible to you before. That's where the real magic happens. To really get the power of this, you have to know where I started. Picture this. I'm in my early 20s, in a tiny apartment I can barely afford. Every morning, my alarm goes off, and this wave of dread just washes over me. Not, ugh, it's Monday dread. This was a heavy, soul-crushing despair. I'd hit snooze as many times as I could just to put off the moment I'd have to go to a job where I felt invisible and totally out of place. Financially, I was in a constant state of panic. I lived paycheck to paycheck, literally. I'd check my bank account multiple times a day, like staring at it would make the numbers go up. Any surprise expense, a car repair, a dental bill, was a full-blown catastrophe that sent me into a spiral of stress. I'll never forget the time my debit card was declined at the grocery store for a few basic items. The shame was so intense I can still feel my face getting hot thinking about it. I felt poor, not just in my bank account, but in my spirit. I was trapped in a vicious cycle. My misery at work left me with zero energy to look for a new job. My financial stress made me feel like I couldn't afford to take any risks. I was stuck in a feedback loop of lack. My thoughts were consumed by it. Lack of money, lack of joy, lack of freedom. And my reality just kept reflecting that back to me. I tried to break free. I sent out a few half-hearted applications, but my defeated energy came through loud and clear. The rejections just confirmed what I already believed. I wasn't good enough. I complained to my friends and family until I was a broken record of my own misery. They'd say, just be more positive or just apply for more jobs but it felt like they were speaking a different language. My turning point wasn't some dramatic explosion. It was a quiet click on a random Tuesday night. I was scrolling, trying to escape my reality again, when I stumbled on a video. It was a woman telling her story, and she talked about the law of attraction, a concept I'd always written off as hippie nonsense. But she explained it differently, not as magic, but as a principle of focused attention and psychology. That realization was both terrifying and totally liberating. Terrifying because it meant I was responsible. I couldn't blame my boss or bad luck anymore. But it was liberating for the exact same reason. If I was the source of the problem, I could be the source of the solution. So I dove in. I read books, listened to podcasts, and started seeing the parallels with real psychology. Vibrational alignment, was just a different way of saying your mindset, emotions, and actions need to be in sync. Visualization wasn't just daydreaming. It's a technique elite athletes use to prime their brains for success. Affirmations weren't just fluffy phrases. They were a way to challenge and rewrite the negative thought loops I had on repeat. I decided to run a 30-day experiment on myself. I would live as if this was all true. I had nothing to lose. My current strategy was clearly failing. And that's when I started the routine that I'm about to share with you. Before we get to the daily actions, we have to talk about the foundation. The actions are useless without these internal shifts. This is 80% of the work. The biggest thing holding me back was a scarcity mindset. I saw lack everywhere. I believed there was a finite amount of money and opportunity, and I was always getting the crumbs. The shift started with gratitude. I know, you've heard it before. But I'm not talking about a passive, I'm grateful for the sky kind of thing. I mean an active hunt for evidence of abundance in my life, right now. Slowly, something amazing happened. By forcing myself to look for good things, I started noticing more good things. My brain was being retrained. Instead of scanning the world for proof of lack, it was now scanning for proof of abundance. And what you look for, you find. This shifted me from a state of scarcity to sufficiency. I wasn't rich overnight, but I stopped feeling poor. I realized that even with my tiny bank account, I had enough. This feeling of enoughness was the antidote to the desperate, needy energy that was keeping me stuck. The second shift was about identity. I asked myself, who is the version of me that has the career and freedom I want? How does she think? How does she feel? How does she act? I realized the stuck and broke me had a specific identity. She complained. She felt unlucky. She procrastinated. She felt unworthy. The successful world-traveling me? She was different. She was confident. She was disciplined. She saw opportunities, not roadblocks. She believed in her own value. Here's the key. I realized I didn't have to wait to have the success to start being that person. I could start being her right now. So, I started making small choices from that new identity. Future me wouldn't hit snooze 5 times. She'd get up with purpose. So I did. Future me wouldn't complain on her lunch break. She'd read a book to improve her skills. So I did that. This was the hardest one for me. I was a control freak. I needed to know how it was all going to happen. This obsession with the how was creating so much anxiety and keeping me stuck in my logical, limited thinking. The shift was to get crystal clear on the what and the why, and then completely surrender the how. My what was a creative, abundant career with the freedom to travel. My why was to feel expansive and joyful. Once I had that, I had to learn to trust. Trust that by focusing on my inner world, my gratitude, my identity, opportunities would show up in ways I couldn't predict. This isn't about sitting on the couch and waiting. It's about taking inspired action. Inspired action feels different from forced, desperate action. Desperate action feels like pushing a boulder uphill. Inspired action feels like a pull. It's a sudden idea, a gut feeling, a coincidence. It's the urge to email an old colleague, or the random idea for a project that falls into your lap. By letting go of the need to control every step, I opened myself up to possibilities my old brain could never have imagined. The dream job I eventually landed didn't come from an application. It came from a conversation at a party I almost skipped. My logical mind could never have planned that. Detaching from the how allows you to notice the unexpected pathways that appear. Okay, with the mindset in place, let's get into the practical daily routine. This is my non-negotiable framework for success. The first 30 minutes of your day set the tone. You're either starting in a state of creation or a state of reaction. Like I said, before my feet hit the floor, 3 new things I'm grateful for. I don't just say them, I try to feel the gratitude in my chest. The feeling is the key. I grab my journal. First, I write my big goals in the present tense as if they're already done. I am so happy and grateful that I am a successful writer, traveling the world with ease. This helps your subconscious mind accept it as a possible reality. Then I set a simple feeling-based intention for the day. Today, my intention is to feel focused and creative. This is the game changer. I close my eyes and for 15 minutes I live in my desired future with all my senses. What does it feel like to get that dream job offer? I feel the jolt of excitement, the smile spreading across my face. What does it feel like to step off a plane in Italy? I feel the warm air, I hear the language, I smell the pizza. By adding emotion and sensory detail, you're creating the neurological and emotional blueprint in your brain. You're familiarizing your brain with a new reality, which makes you start to believe it's not just possible but inevitable. Old negative thoughts will pop up. I can't afford that. I'm not good enough. The key is to catch them. I would literally say stop or cancel in my head, then immediately replace it with a thought that aligns with my new identity. Money flows to me easily and frequently. It feels silly at first, but with repetition, you're actively choosing a new mental habit. This is the most misunderstood part. This is not passive waiting. It's taking action that is aligned with the vision you created. After visualizing being a successful writer, the aligned action is to then sit down and actually write for an hour. If I visualized financial abundance, the aligned action might be to make a budget or learn a new, valuable skill. Action is the bridge between your inner and outer worlds. Your routine builds the energy, and action gives that energy a path to create real results. Just before sleep, your subconscious is wide open. In my journal, I write down 3 things that went well that day. A win could be big or small. I had a great conversation. I finished a difficult task. This trains your brain to focus on progress and success before you sleep. I read my big goals one last time. Then I mentally hand them over to the universe, my higher self, whatever you want to call it. I say, I trust the process. This or something better is on its way. This quiets the anxiety about the how and lets you fall asleep in a state of peaceful trust. This work isn't always a straight line, and there are a few traps people fall into. One of the biggest critiques of this world is toxic positivity. The idea that you have to be happy 24/7 or you'll ruin your manifestations. That's not just wrong, it's harmful. You're human. You will have bad days. You will feel sad, angry, and scared. These feelings aren't bad, they're signals. Forcing a smile when you're genuinely upset is a form of self-betrayal. The key is to process these emotions without letting them become your identity. Acknowledge it. Okay, I'm feeling really discouraged right now. Let yourself feel it. The goal is not to set up camp there. Don't let I feel discouraged become I am a discouraged person. Acknowledge the feeling, and when you're ready, gently guide yourself back to your practice. This is about resilience, not perfection. It's also crucial to acknowledge that privilege is real. Someone starting with family money and social connections has a very different starting line than someone facing systemic oppression and economic hardship. To suggest a person is solely responsible for their difficult situation because of their thoughts is just wrong. These principles are not about ignoring reality. They are about taking radical ownership of what you can control: your mindset, your focus, your habits, and your actions. For me, this work was first about manifesting the internal resources, like resilience and confidence, that I needed to navigate my external challenges. It's about shifting from powerlessness to agency, no matter your starting point. What about when it isn't working? There will be times when you feel like you're doing everything right and seeing zero results. This is where most people quit. This is often just a redirection in disguise. A no might be clearing the path for a much better yes you can't see yet. A setback might be teaching you a lesson you need to learn before you can handle what's next. During these times, faith and persistence are everything. Go back to your why and ask, what is this trying to teach me? Often these failures are just feedback. They're showing you where you still have a limiting belief or where your actions need to be adjusted. Don't give up right before things are about to shift. This journey of transformation goes way beyond just money or travel. It touches every part of your life, from your career to your relationships. If this guide was helpful and you want to apply these same principles to attract a loving partner and build deep self-worth, I've actually created a more focused program called The Magnetic Heart. It's a guided course to help you clear blocks around love and become a magnet for the connection you deserve. You can find the link for that in the description below. So that's the blueprint. That is the exact framework I use to go from broke, stuck, and miserable to living a life that feels free, abundant, and completely mine. It starts with the internal work, shifting from scarcity to sufficiency, embodying the identity of your future self and letting go of the need to control the how. Then, you anchor it into reality with a consistent daily routine of priming your mind, taking inspired action, and ending your day with trust. This isn't a quick fix. It's a practice and a commitment to yourself. But I am living proof that it works. This isn't some special power that only I have. It's available to you right now. You just have to decide to start. You have to believe, even just a tiny bit, that you are more powerful than you've been led to believe. Thank you so much for being here. If this video resonated, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more on creating a life you're truly obsessed with. And I'd love to know, what is the number one thing you are calling into your life right now? Let me know in the comments below. I read them all. I believe in you, and I believe in your power to create anything you want. I'll see you in the next video.